For thousands of years, the Illyrians had lived in peace. Their cities were made of shining crystal towers. Their skies were always blue, calm, and full of light. They did not believe in war. They did not build weapons. They believed that knowledge and harmony were enough to protect them. They were wrong. It started with a shadow. At first, it was small, just a dark shape far away in space. The Illyrian observers thought it was a passing asteroid, something normal, something harmless. But then, the shadow grew. More shapes appeared behind it, hundreds then thousands. Ships. Massive warships. By the time the Illyrians understood what they were seeing, it was already too late. A loud alarm echoed across the capital city. Unknown fleet detected! Unknown fleet detected! People stopped in the streets. They looked up at the sky. Fear slowly filled their hearts. This was something they had never felt before. Professor. Inside the High Council chamber, the leaders of Illyria stood in silence. A giant holographic screen showed the enemy fleet. It was dark, cold, and endless. One of the council members spoke in a shaking voice. Who are they? No one answered. Another voice came from the system AI. Identification Zarvok Legion. The room became cold. The Zarvok Legion was not unknown. Stories about them existed in old records. They were conquerors, destroyers, a species that believed only the strong had the right to live. And now they had come to Illyria. A deep, heavy voice spoke from the center of the council. Activate planetary shields. Shields are not ready, the AI replied. System failure detected. What? The council members looked at each other in shock. How is that possible? Before anyone could answer, the sky changed. A bright flash of light cut through the clouds. Then another. And another. The first attack had begun. Explosions shook the ground. Tall crystal buildings cracked and fell like glass. Fires spread across the city. People screamed and ran in every direction. The peaceful world of Illyria was breaking apart. They had never trained for this. They had never imagined this. Above them, the Zarvok ships moved slowly, like hunters. They did not rush. They did not panic. They simply destroyed. A young Illyrian named Lyra stood in the middle of the chaos. Her hands trembled as she looked at the burning sky. This cannot be real. A loud blast threw her to the ground. Dust and heat filled the air. She tried to stand, but her legs felt weak. Around her, everything was changing. The world she knew was gone. Back in the council chamber, the situation was getting worse. Defense systems are down. Communication towers are destroyed. Casualties rising rapidly. Every report was worse than the last. The leader of the council, Elder Varin, closed his eyes for a moment. He was old, wise, and calm, but even he could not hide the fear now. We cannot fight them, one council member said. We are not a military civilization. Then what do we do? Another asked. Silence filled the room. Then, slowly, Varin spoke. We asked for help. The others turned toward him in shock. Help? From who? Varin walked toward the central console. His hands moved slowly, but with purpose. From anyone who can hear us, the AI responded. Emergency signal system is available. However, range is wide. Message will reach unknown regions. That does not matter, Varin said. Send it. Another council member stepped forward quickly. Wait, there are sectors we must avoid. Varin stopped. What sectors? The AI displayed a map of the galaxy. Several regions were marked in red. These zones are classified as forbidden, the AI explained. Signals are not recommended. Why? Someone asked. The AI paused for a moment. Then it answered. Because something lives there. The room became silent again. Varen stared at the map. Explain. Records indicate that civilizations entering these zones do not return. The dominant species in these regions are known as Deathworlders. The word felt heavy. Deathworlders? One council member whispered. Yes, the AI said. Species evolved on extremely dangerous planets. High gravity, extreme weather, constant conflict. They are highly aggressive and unpredictable. Another council member shook his head. No, we cannot contact them. They could be worse than the Zarvok. But we are already dying, Varen replied calmly. That single sentence ended the argument. No one spoke again. Outside, the destruction continued. The Zarvok ships moved closer to the surface now. Smaller attack crafts entered the atmosphere. They hunted anything that moved. Lyra ran through broken streets. Smoke filled the air. The heat burned her skin. She could hear screams in every direction. She reached a group of survivors hiding behind a fallen structure. What do we do? Someone asked her. She had no answer. No one did. Above them, a massive Zarvok ship lowered closer to the ground. Its dark surface blocked the light of the sky. It felt like the end. Back in the council chamber, Varen stood ready. Prepare the message, he said. The AI activated the system. Recording. Varen took a deep breath. This is Elder Varen of Illyria, he began. His voice was steady, but heavy with emotion. Our world is under attack. We are a peaceful people. We cannot defend ourselves. If anyone can hear this, we ask for your help. He paused for a moment. Then added softly. Please. The message ended. Send it, Varen said. The AI hesitated. Warning signal will enter forbidden sectors. Varen did not move. Send it. A bright pulse of energy shot out from the planet. It moved faster than light, carrying their message into the dark unknown of space. Into regions no one dared to contact. Into places where something waited. For a moment, nothing changed. The war continued. The sky burned. The screams did not stop. Minutes passed. Then hours. No answer came. Some council members began to lose hope. It was useless, one of them said. No one is coming. Varen said nothing. He simply watched the screen. Waiting. Far away in the darkness of space, the signal arrived. It entered a silent region. No stars nearby. No known civilizations. Only emptiness. A system activated. A single point of light appeared in the darkness. The signal was received. Inside a massive structure hidden in space, a message played. This is Elder Varen of Illyria. We ask for your help. Silence followed. Then, slowly, more lights turned on. Shapes appeared in the dark. Ships? Not small ones. Not peaceful ones. These were different. Their designs were rough, heavy, and built for war. Scars covered their surfaces. Weapons lined their sides. They looked dangerous. Very dangerous. A deep voice echoed inside the command center. Source of signal? Another voice replied. Unidentified peaceful civilization, under attack. A pause. Then the first voice spoke again. Threat level? High. Another pause. Then one simple command was given. Prepare the fleet. Back on Illyria, the situation was near collapse. The Zarvok forces had taken control of most of the planet. Fires burned everywhere. The sky was no longer visible behind the smoke. Lyra sat on the ground, weak and tired. Around her, the survivors were silent. There was nothing left to say. "We are going to die," someone whispered. No one argued. Because it was true. In the council chamber, the final reports came in. "We cannot hold them any longer. Enemy forces approaching the capital. This is the end." Varen closed his eyes. He had done everything he could. He only hoped someone had heard them. Then, a sound, a strange signal appeared on the screen. All the systems in the room turned on at once. "Unknown transmission incoming," the AI said. Everyone looked up. The signal was not from the Zarvok. It was something else. Something new. "Play it," Varen said. The message came through. Cold, clear, calm. "Request received." The room went silent. Then the voice continued. "Humans are coming." No one in the room spoke. No one moved. They did not know what humans were. But something about that voice. It did not sound like hope. It sounded like something else. Something powerful. Something dangerous. And far away, in the darkness of space, a fleet began to move. "Humans are coming." Those 3 words echoed in the council chamber again and again. No one spoke. No one even moved. It felt like time itself had stopped. Elder Varen slowly turned toward the AI system. "Humans," he repeated. "Do we have any data?" The AI paused for a moment. Then it answered. "Very limited." "Show it." The screen flickered. Old, broken records appeared. Most of them were incomplete. Some were marked as restricted. "Humans are classified as Deathworlders," the AI said. "Origin planet Earth." A strange image appeared on the screen. A blue and green world. Environment high gravity, violent weather, dangerous wildlife, constant natural disasters. The council members looked confused. "How did anything survive there?" one asked. The AI continued. "Humans did not just survive, they adapted." Another image appeared. This time, it showed humans. Not very large, not very different from other species. But something in their eyes felt wrong. "They evolved through conflict," the AI explained. "War is a common part of their history." "How common?" another council member asked. The AI paused again. Then it answered in a cold tone. "Constant." Silence filled the room. One council member stepped back slowly. "We asked them for help," he whispered. "What have we done?" Outside, the war was reaching its final stage. The Zarvok Legion had almost complete control of Illyria. Their ships now hovered directly above the capital. Large landing units descended from the sky like dark rain. The ground shook with every impact. Lyra watched as one of the massive enemy units landed in the distance. The air around it burned. The metal surface opened, and heavily armed Zarvok soldiers stepped out. They moved with purpose. No fear, no hesitation. "They are taking everything," Lyra said softly. An older survivor beside her shook his head. "No," he said. "They are ending everything." High above the planet, the Zarvok flagship stood still. It was enormous, larger than any structure the Illyrians had ever built. Its surface was black, covered in glowing red lines that moved like veins. Inside, the Zarvok commander watched the destruction below. "Status," he demanded. A soldier stepped forward. "Resistance is nearly gone. Planet will be secured within hours." The commander nodded slowly. "Good. Another officer spoke. We detected a signal earlier. It was sent into deep space. The commander did not look worried. From this world? Yes. Did anyone answer? The officer hesitated. Unknown? The commander gave a low, cold laugh. It does not matter, he said. No one will come. Far away beyond known space, something moved. At first, it was just a small distortion in the darkness, like space itself was bending. Suddenly, a tear opened. A massive warship appeared. Then another. And another. Within seconds, an entire fleet came out of nothing. They did not arrive like normal ships. They forced their way into space. The ships were unlike anything seen before. They were not smooth or elegant. They looked heavy, solid, and built for survival. Their surfaces were covered in marks. Battle scars. Each one told a story. Each one showed that these ships had been through war and survived. Hundreds of them. And thousands. The fleet formed a perfect formation. Silent. Still. Waiting. Inside the lead ship, a human commander stood at the front of the control room. His face was calm. His eyes were focused. Target confirmed, a voice said. Illyria system located. Enemy presence? The commander asked. Large-scale invasion. Multiple warships. Heavy weapons. The commander did not react. He simply looked forward. Prepare for jump. Yes, sir. The entire fleet powered up at once. Energy filled the space around them. They disappeared. Up on Illyria. The sky was dying. Smoke covered everything. Fire burned across the horizon. The air was thick and hard to breathe. Lyra closed her eyes for a moment. She remembered how the sky used to look. Blue. Peaceful. Alive. Now it was gone. A loud sound pulled her back. The Zarvok forces were getting closer. We have to move, someone shouted. But there was nowhere left to go. In the council chamber, the final defense line had fallen. They are entering the capital, the AI reported. Varen stood still. This was it. The end of Illyria. The system suddenly changed. New anomaly detected. All screens turned bright. What is that? Someone asked. The AI scanned rapidly. Unknown energy signatures, multiple sources, very large. The room filled with tension. Is it Zarvok? Another asked. The AI answered quickly. A second later, the sky above Illyria changed. Space itself broke open. Not slowly. Not gently. It shattered. Bright light exploded across the sky as massive shapes forced their way into orbit. One ship appeared. Then 10. Then hundreds. Within seconds, the entire sky was filled with unknown vessels. They were huge, dark, and completely silent. Every Zarvok ship stopped moving. Every weapon paused. Even the destruction slowed. Because something new had arrived. Inside the Zarvok flagship, alarms began to scream. Unidentified fleet detected! The commander stood up instantly. Show me! The screen changed. For the first time, his expression shifted. Confusion. Then something else. Concern? The new fleet did not match any known design. No records? Data! Nothing. Who are they? He demanded. No one answered. Back on the surface, Lyra looked up. The burning sky was now filled with shadows. But these were not Zarvok ships. These were different. They did not attack. They did not move. They simply watched. What is happening? She whispered. Inside the human flagship, the commander observed everything. The burning cities, the enemy fleet, the destruction. He said nothing for a moment. Then he gave a single order. Open channel. Yes, sir. A signal was sent directly to the Zarvok flagship. The connection forced itself through their systems. The Zarvok commander turned as the screen activated. A human face appeared. Calm. Cold. Unafraid. This system is now under human protection, the human commander said. His voice was steady. No anger, no fear. Just certainty. The Zarvok commander stared at him. You are interfering in a conquest, he said. Leave now or be destroyed. The human commander did not react. Instead, he said something simple. They asked for help. A pause. Then, now step aside. Silence. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the Zarvok commander smiled. A dark, cruel smile. The first shot was massive. A beam of pure energy shot toward the human fleet. It was powerful enough to destroy a planet. It hit the lead human ship directly. A bright explosion filled space. The Illyrians watched in horror. They are gone, someone whispered. But when the light faded, the human ship was still there. Not destroyed. Not even damaged. The surface glowed for a moment, then returned to normal. Inside the Zarvok flagship, fear spread for the first time. That is not possible. The human commander gave his next order. Return fire. Everything changed. The human fleet moved instantly. No delay. No warning. Their ships broke formation with perfect precision. Weapons activated across every vessel. They attacked. Not like the Zarvok. Not slow. Not controlled. This was fast. Aggressive. Relentless. Beams of energy cut through enemy ships. Missiles moved faster than sight. Entire Zarvok units disappeared in seconds. The battlefield turned into chaos. The Zarvok tried to respond, but they were too slow. Too unprepared. Too weak. From the surface, Lyra watched in shock. The monsters who destroyed her world were now being destroyed. Who are they? She asked. No one answered. Because no one understood. Inside the Zarvok flagship, systems failed one after another. We are losing ships. Shields are collapsing. They are too fast. The commander gripped his seat tightly. His voice dropped to a whisper. These are not defenders. His eyes locked on the human fleet. These are predators. Back in the human flagship, the commander watched the battle. Calm. Focused. Controlled. Target the flagship, he said. Yes, sir. The largest human ships moved forward, directly toward the heart of the enemy. And as the war truly began, one truth became clear to everyone watching. The Illyrians had asked for help. But what had answered was something far more dangerous. The war did not slow down. became worse. What had started as a battle was now turning into something else. Something far more dangerous. The human fleet did not fight like the Zarvok. They did not hold position. They did not wait. They hunted. Their ships moved fast, too fast for normal tracking systems. They broke formation again and again, attacking from angles no one expected. Small strike ships rushed forward like sharp blades, cutting deep into the enemy lines. Every move was precise. Every attack had purpose. And every second the Zarvok fleet was shrinking. From the surface of Illyria, the sky looked alive. Bright lines of energy crossed the darkness, explosions lit up the clouds, burning debris fell like fire rain. Lyra stood with the other survivors, watching in silence. She should have felt hope. The enemy was losing. The monsters were being pushed back. But something felt wrong. Very wrong. "They are not saving us," she whispered. The old survivor beside her looked at the sky with tired eyes. "No," he said slowly. "They are ending a war their way." In orbit, the battlefield had turned chaotic. Zarvok ships tried to regroup, but the humans did not allow it. Every time they formed a defensive line, it was broken within seconds. Human ships crashed into enemy vessels without hesitation. Some even exploded on purpose, destroying themselves just to take the enemy with them. Inside one human strike ship, alarms were screaming. The pilot held the controls tightly. "Target locked," a voice said. "Good," the pilot replied. "Escape route?" the system asked. The pilot looked at the screen. There was no escape. He smiled slightly. "Not needed." He pushed the controls forward. The ship accelerated directly toward a massive Zarvok cruiser. Impact in 5 seconds. 4. 3. The pilot closed his eyes. For Earth. The ship hit the cruiser. A massive explosion followed. Both ships were gone. Inside the Zarvok flagship, fear was spreading fast. They are sacrificing their own units. They do not retreat. They do not stop. The commander watched the battle with growing anger. "This is madness," he said. "No," one of his officers whispered. "This is war for them." Back in the human flagship, the commander stood still. He watched every sacrifice, every explosion, every loss. But his face did not change. "Report," he said. "Enemy fleet reduced by 40%. "Human losses?" he asked. "Significant." The room went quiet. But the commander only nodded. "Continue." The war became even more brutal. Human ships moved deeper into enemy territory. They did not wait for orders anymore. They acted on instinct, on training, on experience built from endless battles. They fought like they had nothing to lose. Because maybe they didn't. On Illyria, the ground shook again. A massive Zarvok ship fell from the sky, crashing into the surface far from the city. The explosion sent a shockwave across the land. Lyra fell to her knees. She looked at the burning horizon. "This is not rescue," she said softly. "This is destruction." In the council chamber, the Illyrian leaders watched everything. No one spoke. No one moved. The screen showed only chaos. Elder Varen stood in silence. "We asked for help," one council member said, his voice shaking. "But this—" Varen did not answer. Because he knew the truth. They had asked for help, without understanding what help meant. In space, the Zarvok commander made a decision. Prepare the final weapon, he ordered. The officers froze. Commander, that will destroy everything, even our own forces. I know, he said coldly, but we cannot lose. The massive flagship began to power up. Energy gathered at its core. A weapon strong enough to wipe out the entire battlefield. Inside the human flagship, warning alarms activated. Energy spike detected. Source enemy flagship. The commander stepped forward. Analysis. Large-scale weapon. Estimated impact total system destruction. The room became silent. If they fire that, someone said, everything will be gone. The commander looked at the screen. Then he made a choice. Prepare Operation Black Sun. The crew froze. Sir, that operation is not survivable. I know. Across the human fleet, a message was sent. A final command. A final mission. Several ships broke away from the main battle. They turned and moved directly toward the Zarvok flagship. On Illyria, the sky changed again. A small group of human ships moved forward, faster than anything before. They did not attack other targets. They ignored everything. They had one goal. Inside one of those ships, the crew prepared in silence. No one spoke. No one hesitated. They all knew what this mission meant. The captain looked at his team. This is it, he said quietly. No fear. No doubt. Only acceptance. Inside the Zarvok flagship, the weapon was almost ready. Energy at 90%. Prepare to fire. The commander smiled. If we cannot win, no one will. Multiple incoming ships detected. The officer turned in shock. They are heading straight for us. The commander's eyes widened. Stop them! All weapons fired at once. Beams, missiles, everything. But the human ships did not stop. Some were destroyed. Some exploded. But others kept moving. The closer. Hit us. Inside the lead human ship, the captain held the controls. Distance? Closing fast. Shields? Gone. He smiled slightly. Good. Back in the human flagship, the commander watched. Silent. Still. The remaining human ships reached the Zarvok flagship. They activated everything. All energy. All systems. At once. A light appeared. Small at first. Then growing. Brighter. Stronger. Until it became impossible to look at. On Illyria, the survivors looked up. The sky turned white. Lyra covered her eyes. What is happening? Then, everything exploded. A massive wave of energy spread across space. It swallowed ships. It destroyed weapons. It erased everything in its path. The Zarvok flagship was gone. Their fleet? Gone. The battlefield? Silent. A long moment. There was nothing. No sound. No movement. Only empty space. Then, slowly, the light faded. On Illyria, the sky cleared. The fire was still there. The destruction remained. But the enemy... I was gone. Lyra slowly stood up. Her hands were shaking. They did it. But her voice was not happy. It was quiet. Confused. Afraid. In orbit, only a few human ships remained. Damaged? Broken? But still alive. Inside the human flagship, the commander looked at the empty battlefield. Enemy eliminated, a voice said. He closed his eyes for a moment, then opened them again. Status of fleet? Losses extreme. The room was silent. Far below, Illyria was saved. But not the same. Never the same. Elder Varen looked at the sky. We are alive, someone said behind him. But Varen did not smile. Because he understood something now. Something important. Something terrifying. They had asked for help. And help had come. But it had a cost. A very heavy cost. And as the surviving human ships slowly turned away from the planet, one truth became clear. The galaxy did not fear the Zarvok. Not anymore. It would fear the humans, but silence did not feel like peace. Illyria was still burning. The sky, once blue and alive, was now gray and heavy. Smoke moved slowly across the air. Broken towers stood like empty shells. The ground was covered with dust, fire, and the remains of a world that had never known war. Now it knew too much. Lyra walked slowly through the ruins. Each step felt heavier than the last. She passed streets she once knew, places where people used to laugh, talk, and live simple lives. Now there was nothing. Only silence. Only loss. She stopped near a broken structure. A small piece of crystal wall still stood, cracked but not fallen. She touched it gently. This was home, she whispered. But the word no longer felt real. Across the planet, survivors began to come out. Slowly. Carefully. They looked around, trying to understand what was left. Some cried. Some stayed silent. Some just stared, unable to feel anything at all. In the council chamber, the leaders of Illyria gathered again. But they were not the same. Their calm faces were gone. Their confidence was gone. Only reality remained. We survived, one council member said quietly. No one answered. Because survival did not feel like victory. Elder Varen stood near the main screen. It showed the space above Illyria. The battlefield was empty now. Only a few human ships remained, damaged. Still. Watching. Waiting. They are still here, someone said. Why? Another asked. Varen did not respond. Because he did not know. Above the planet, inside the human flagship, the atmosphere was quiet. Too quiet. The battle was over. But the cost was clear. Final report, the commander said. A voice answered. Enemy forces eliminated. Fleet status. A pause. Then 70% of our ships destroyed. Silence filled the room. Casualties? High. No one moved. No one spoke. These were not just numbers. They were lives. The commander looked at the screen. At the planet below. At the world they had saved. Then he turned away. Prepare to leave. Back on Illyria, a signal reached the council. Human fleet is moving, the AI said. They are leaving? Someone asked. Yes. The room filled with confusion. They are not even waiting? another said. They saved us, and now they just go. Varen stepped forward. Open a channel. Yes. The signal was sent. For a moment, there was no response. The connection was established. On the screen, the human commander appeared again. Calm. Silent. Unchanged. Varen spoke first. His voice was slower now, heavier. You saved us. The human commander did not reply. Varen continued. We do not have words for what you have done. Our world was ending, and you came. A pause. Then he said softly, Thank you. For a moment, the human commander said nothing. Then he spoke. We responded to a signal. That was all. No emotion. No pride. Just a statement. Varen looked at him carefully. Why? He asked. This time, the human commander answered. Because someone asked. The simple words felt heavy. Varen lowered his head slightly. We are in your debt. The human commander's eyes did not change. No, he said. You are not. The council members looked confused. Varen frowned slightly. What do you mean? The human commander stepped closer to the screen. His voice became colder. Conger! Understand this, he said. You did not ask for peace. The room went silent. You asked for survival. No one moved. No one spoke. We gave you that, the commander continued. But survival has a cost. Varen felt something change inside him. A realization. A truth he could not ignore. You saw what we did, the human said. You saw how we fight. A pause. You saw what it takes to win. The council members looked at each other. Fear slowly returned. Not of the Zarvok, but of something else. We are not like you, the human commander said. We were not born in peace. Images flashed behind him. Higher! Destruction. We were shaped by conflict. More images. Battles. Loss. Endless struggle. We learned one thing, he said. If you want to survive. His voice lowered. You must be ready to become something else. Varen stepped forward slightly. His voice was quiet. What are you? The human commander looked directly at him. And for the first time, there was something in his eyes. Not anger. Not pride. Something deeper. Survivors, he said. Silence filled the room. Then the human commander gave his final words. Next time. A pause. Learn to fight before calling monsters. The connection ended. No one in the council chamber moved. The words stayed in the air. Heavy. Unforgettable. Above Illyria, the human fleet began to move. Slowly at first, then faster. Their ships turned away from the planet. And send a war. From everything? Lyra stood outside, watching the sky. The dark shapes began to disappear one by one. No celebration. No victory. No goodbye. They just left. They are gone, someone said. Lyra did not respond. She kept looking up. At the empty sky. For the first time in a long time. It was quiet. But it was not the same quiet as before. This silence had weight. This silence had memory. Days passed. Then weeks. Illyria began to rebuild. Slowly. Painfully. The survivors worked together. They repaired what they could. They remembered what they lost. But something had changed. They no longer believed in a peaceful universe. They no longer believed that kindness alone was enough. They had seen the truth. Far away, in deep space, the human fleet continued its journey. The ships moved in silence. Damaged? Scarred. But still strong. Inside the flagship, the commander stood alone. He looked at a screen. A list of names. Endless names. The ones they lost. He closed his eyes. Just for a moment. Then opened them again. And turned away. Because this was not new for them. Loss was part of who they were. War was part of their history. And helping others. I was never free. Back on Illyria, Elder Varen stood in the rebuilt council chamber. It was smaller now. Simpler? But stronger. He looked at the new generation. The ones who survived? The ones who would rebuild? We will change, he said. His voice was calm. But different. We must. No one argued. Because now, they understood. They had asked for heroes. For saviors. For hope. But what answered their call was something else entirely. Not heroes. Not gods. Something stronger. Something harder. A species born from a world of death. A species that survived everything. A species that did what was necessary. And as the stars shined quietly above Illyria once again, one final truth remained. They had asked for help. And the universe had sent Deathworlders. End of story.